Hey, and what is up, movie viewers? Dena Views and Reviews here, asking, what you watching? Well, today I am watching 1001, starring Tiana Taylor, Aaron Kingsley, Adetola, Avon Courtney, and Josiah Cross. It is written and directed by A.V. Rockwell. It is produced by A.V. Rockwell, Julia Labedev, Lena Waithe, Eddie Bosman, Jameen O'Brien, Brad Weston, and Rishi Rajani. 1001 is a 2023 drama about a streetwise female hairstylist and hustler by the name of Inez, who is played by singer, actress, and dancer Tiyanna Taylor. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! The character Inez plays a mother, a protector, and a provider to a 6-year-old young foster child by the name of Terry, who she calls T. Her motherly instincts and pure affection for this child is overwhelmingly evident, and often it is at the core of all of her actions once she decides to snatch him from the failed foster care system. She changes his situation and she works to make a difference within his life. Now, when the movie opens, Inez is in a jail cell and she is styling another inmate's hair at Rikers Island. Once unconfined, she returns to Brooklyn where she begins doing hair and trying to make an honest living. Her intent is that she does not want to go back into jail again. But it is here that she begins to ask other children in the neighborhood about the whereabouts of T. Once she finally finds Terry, he seems a bit withdrawn. He's clearly angry and upset with her for leaving him, one would assume. But T speaks very little to her. Even so, there's a clear connection between the two of them. There isn't much explanation as to why Terry has been put into foster care, or for that matter, why exactly Inez found herself in jail. Although drug use was implied, but it really never details the circumstances that led up to this little boy, Terry, winding up in the failed foster care system. Nor does the movie actually go into Inez's backstory completely. It simply implies certain details within the conversations that Inez has with her friends or characters as the movie progresses, including one interaction in particular with the actor Will Catlett, who is called Lucky. He is Inez's love interest, and eventually he becomes her husband. He hinted, when are you going to tell him, as if there was some kind of secret that she was keeping from the young man. Now, and he also asked that question, the question, how can two crooks raise a child? He asks that question later on in this movie. Now, Inez decides to take T from the custody of the foster care system and raises him herself. She had no home, no job, only her determination and desire to give this child a better opportunity from the one that he was currently, the situation he was currently in. Now, so she takes this often kind of withdrawn child. He's a quiet child until he have his moments when he gets upset. And she begins the task of trying to find them both a place to live until she can provide them with a more permanent place that they can call home. Inez loves to do hair, but she wants to stay under the radar so she and Terry will not be found by the authorities. So she ends up turning to friends whenever she possibly can, and there were a lot of difficulties for her. Eventually, she takes on a cleaning job that provides a meager but steady paycheck, and this allows her to get them into a apartment in Harlem. And it enables her to secure some fake documents for Terry, and it gives him a new name and allows him to enroll in school, where he begins to thrive, and he does very well academically. Even so, the work that she does is so overwhelming. Even so, she struggles with it. She does not give up and she does not give in. There were many issues that continue to devastate black communities and families today that she was faced with. Not only racial discrimination, but receiving a reasonable wage for a reasonable day's work, police brutality, lack of just basic resources within black identified neighborhoods is a common issue. Gentrification, of course, and finding quality, affordable housing. It's a big issue. Now, this movie also puts a spotlight on the failure of the foster care system, or the lack of real concern for many of the black youngsters in particular that can sometimes get caught up in it. Now, and often it's through no fault of their own. And more than anything, I personally think it also indicates how and why it is important for us as parents to be conscious in our reproduction, as well as personal choices that we make that can have an effect on the innocent lives that we bring into this world. Our choices can have an effect on these little offsprings, physically and sometimes even mentally. That is why it is important to be aware of your choices in life and mindful and sensible actions and behaviors, and conscious as to how circumstances can affect our offsprings, their quality of life. And it does mean conscious or purposely being aware of your duties, your responsibilities as parents, and even your expectations of yourself and your children. And it also is important that we are intentional in what we expose our little ones to as infants. We have to be intentional with our actions, choices, and even our words when we are rearing these precious babies, because it can certainly affect them and even determine perhaps their quality of life. Even if that means holding ourselves to a higher standard when it becomes necessary, whenever we decide to bring life into this world. But despite their many struggles, Inez, Terry, and eventually Lucky, who moves in and marries Inez, he becomes a member of their family and they make a little family. Terry eventually grows into, like I said, a smart young man. He's a teenager, and even his teachers recognize his potentials and attempts to help him along the way. Now, I felt like TEYANNA Taylor did a remarkable job in this role. She was an attentive, caring, although a bit hood. She was a mother figure. You just knew she loved that little boy, and she really wanted the best for him. And even though I did not like the ending at all, it took me on this emotional ride. Took me way up, just like on a ride at the theme park, and it just dropped me off. The ending, for lack of a better word, just sucked to me. I felt dismayed and deprived of actual closure. And this is why I was forced to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It just left me hanging with too many unanswered questions in the end as to what happened with them, what happened to Inez, and what happened with Terry. Where did he end up? Where is his mom and dad? Just too many unanswered questions. Even so, I would still recommend checking out this movie because it is quite interesting and it kept my attention, and it really showed a bit of what some mothers today face and how far some are willing to go to try and protect as well as prepare these precious little ones that they are blessed with. But just to give them an opportunity for a better quality of life. It simply shows the real power of love. 1001 is rated R, and if you would like to check this movie out, you most certainly can, because it is now streaming on Peacock. Subscribe and leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments. You can show your support for this channel by simply making a donation. in the amount of your choosing to cash.app /$ discussions with Dena. Or you can scan the barcode on the screen. I want you to join me for my next movie review and our recommendation. But most of all, I would like for you to remember it's my view. Now, what you watching?